That viral freeway shooting we all saw was only half of the story, because some newly resurfaced footage just hit the internet, and it's looking like there was a second shooter involved in the setup that took MO3's life. We've got actual receipts, and they are not looking good for a few folks. From mysterious Camaros to voices caught on camera, this clip is raising way more questions and making a lot of people real uncomfortable. So this fresh footage just dropped, and at first, everybody was saying there was only one shooter, the guy we saw chasing MO3 on the freeway. But when you really look at how MO3 was shot, it don't add up. Angle of the wounds look like they didn't come from behind. So now it's looking like there was a second shooter involved, and this new footage might just be the proof. Now, MO3's manager Rainwater has been hinting at this for a while, saying there was more to the story. And if you've been watching the case closely, the courts even slid in a little tea. They said there are multiple people involved, not just the main guy we all saw, Q-on White, aka Banzo. Banzo himself been real cryptic too. He ain't snitching, but he told folks, "One thing I know, I ain't do it." So now, we really gotta make it make sense. Alright, back to the footage. When MO3 was being followed on the freeway, there was this other car filming everything, making jokes and mocking him. They wasn't just random people. Peep the back seat. Folks spotted license plates in there that could link to something bigger.
Alright, ooh, I hope they go left some game. He got a gun out? He seen or go? Go around.
In the clip, you hear them say, "Oh, he got a gun out." And they're talking like they already know what's about to go down. They're watching the Camaro, the same car MO3 was being trailed by, and waiting for their cue. Like, it's clear these folks were coordinated. So MO3 gets on I-35, and this is where everything unfolds. According to Rainwater, the car MO3 was driving didn't stop on purpose. It stalled out. Why? Allegedly, the tires got shot, the engine was hit. It was all strategic. They wanted that man out the car and vulnerable, and it worked. And let's not forget, MO3 had stopped at a gas station before all this, and that Camaro was there too. So these people weren't just catching up to him, they were following him the whole time, probably from the moment he left a woman's house that morning. Also, remember that these dudes in the car said stuff like, go around, he got a gun out, and, oh, he see us. They're hyped. They're locked in, and they're trying to maneuver around other cars to stay close to the Camaro. This wasn't no random incident. This was planned out. You can even hear the stress in their voices trying to catch up before something goes down. Think about this for a second. Why would MO3 randomly stop his car on a busy freeway? He didn't. His car was shot up until it gave out. Then, when he ran, it wasn't just Banzo chasing him. He ran into somebody else, and that's likely who fired the fatal shots. The medical examiner even said the wounds don't match someone getting shot while being chased. MO3 had his hands up, not because he was surrendering, but because he ran into the second shooter, face to face. This ain't speculation no more. The footage is real, and it's from folks in Dallas who were there, filming. The freeway was packed, people were playing MO3's music, folks knew exactly what went down. A lot of the footage was allegedly wiped, but it's resurfacing now. And let's keep it real. If there were people throwing parties to celebrate after this happened, that just adds another dark layer to the whole thing. But one thing is for sure, and two are for certain. The MO3 case is developing as we speak.
New at 4 now, still no public sighting of North Texas rapper Beezy after he bonded out of jail at 10 o'clock this morning. He's charged with capital murder in the 2020 death of Dallas rapper MO3.
Almost 5 years after we lost MO3, the cops locked up and are pointing fingers at none other than Beezy. They're saying he was the mastermind behind the whole thing, so let's break it down. It all went down. November 11th, 2020. MO3 was driving up I-35 in Dallas just minding his business, when out of nowhere, a masked shooter pulls up. MO3 tries to get out the car and run for his life, but he ends up getting hit multiple times right there on the freeway. Sadly, he didn't make it. And to make it even worse, a random bystander in another car got hit too, but thankfully survived. It was a straight-up highway hit, broad daylight, packed roads, no escape. The whole thing had people like, who would even dare pull something like this? About a month later, police arrested a 22-year-old named Q-on White. He got picked up on a gun charge first, but then they hit him with a murder charge connected to MO3's case. He pled guilty on the firearm part and started serving a 9-year sentence. But that charge is still hanging over his head. But that wasn't the end. Come April 2021, they snatched up another man, Devin Maurice Brown. Cops say Devin was out here hitting up witnesses, trying to get MO3's location before the shooting went down. Phone records even showed a bunch of calls between Devin and Kewen right before the hit, but Kewen tried to act like he didn't even know Devin. So by spring of 2021, we had two people tied to MO3's, but no real motive had been pinned down. That's where the real tea started to bubble. Cause MO3 and Yella Beezy, they had real beef, and it ran deep. Now get this, almost 4 years after Devin's arrest, police finally came back around and said Yella Beezy orchestrated the whole thing. According to new reports, he paid Kewen to carry out the ambush, and that's some serious conspiracy-level stuff. Police are still being quiet about the full details, but come on, if you've been tapped into Dallas rap beefs, you already know this has been bubbling for years. The drama goes way back to when Mo3's homie Roy Lee was shot and killed back in 2018. Word on the street is, Roy Lee had disrespected Yella Beezy by calling out his claim to Oak Cliff, one of the hottest hoods in Dallas. Some folks brushed it off, but others took that real personal. Roy Lee ended up getting shot at a shopping center and died from complications a little later. Then the day after Roy Lee passed, boom, Beezy gets hit in a drive-by. He survived, but it was clear things were getting messy.
So from what I understand, the car got hit up over a dozen times.
23 times.
23 times.
Yeah.
Did you look over and see?
I don't even, that's why I was telling people, I don't even remember me looking over.
Between all that, Mo3 and Beezy stayed throwing shots at each other in tracks and on socials. There was even an incident in early 2020 where Mo3's manager said Beezy and his crew jumped him outside a Dallas club. So when Mo3 was killed in November 2020, people had theories, but nothing was confirmed. And for years, Beezy wasn't even listed as a suspect. But now, in 2025, he's officially been arrested and charged, not just with but capital. That means life without parole or the death penalty could be on the table. Now the crazy part is, both Mo3 and Yella Beezy were rising stars and they had real potential in the game. But instead of leaving the street drama behind, this beef ended with one man dead and the other being accused of setting it up. So last week, when news dropped that Yella Beezy got arrested and the fact that it was capital, that's the highest level charge you can catch in Texas, and we're talking life without parole or the death penalty if you're found guilty, so it's big. But here's the question. Why did it take 5 years to arrest him? Mo3 was murked back in 2020, and the alleged shooter was arrested pretty quick after. But Beezy just got picked up now? Well, here's the thing. Cases don't have a time limit. There's no statute of limitations, so the cops had time to build the case. They could take their time, interview folks, collect evidence, and really make sure they had the right person. That's actually pretty common. And when it comes to hip-hop beefs turning deadly like this, we're seeing more and more cases where the feds are using rappers' own words against them. Like with Lil Durk, Big U, and now Beezy. These dudes go on podcasts, say stuff in songs or interviews, maybe not outright confessing, but definitely saying enough to connect the dots. Cops and prosecutors are watching and taking notes, and when it's time to build a case, they'll pull up clips, lyrics, anything you said publicly. Once it's out there, it's all but fair game. Doesn't matter if it was years ago, it can still be used in court. It's like throwing something in the trash and thinking it's gone, but someone digs it up and boom, it's back. So yeah, in this digital age, folks really need to think twice before putting anything out there. It could come back later, for better or for worse. So here's the deal, if this thing with Yella Beezy actually goes to trial. Now, off rip, the defense is probably gonna try to flip the narrative, like they might bring up diss tracks, lyrics, social media posts, anything that can look like motive. Basically, anything that paints a picture of beef. But here's where it gets tricky. The arrest just happened. So even though Mo3 died back in 2020, this is still the early stage of the legal process. Beezy just got booked, and now his team and the prosecution are going through discovery, swapping evidence, reviewing files, seeing what cards each side is holding. After that, he can either take a deal or push it to trial depending on how strong the evidence is. And yo, this is a capital for hire case. That means prosecutors are saying someone paid Beezy, or he had some kind of financial gain from setting it up. To convict him, the state's got to prove not just that he was involved, but that he benefited from it. That's a heavy claim. So Beezy's defense team are most likely gonna zero in on that. Like, how y'all gonna prove my client made money off this? Where's the gain? Because if they can't show he got anything out of it, that charge could fall apart. Now, folks are wondering, should Beezy testify for himself? Because if so, that's a big risk. Defense lawyers usually don't like putting their clients on the stand unless they have to. Because once he's up there, prosecutors can start digging into his past, his record, his lyrics, whatever else he said out loud, and that could backfire real quick. And let's say they do pull up song lyrics. Yeah, you can try to play the First Amendment card and argue it's just art. But if they got receipts, like money transfers, phone records, or text convos that link back to the hit, that's gonna be a whole different story. Now, what about the other two dudes that got charged in this case? Could they turn on Beezy? Absolutely. The DA can cut deals with them in exchange for snitching. Like, you testify against him, we'll cut down your sentence. And that's legal, happens all the time. So Beezy gotta worry about whether one of them might flip. Right now, there's no trial date set, no plea, no official move toward trial just yet. But what we do know is that Beezy was sitting in the Dallas County Jail on a $2 million bond. But that changed quickly too. Yella got out of that Dallas County jail cell a few back, and he pulled it off because his $2 million bond got slashed down to $750,000. Thanks to his legal team crying, broke in front of the judge, and get this, his grandma even took the stand to vouch for him.
Conway now returns to jail with a $750,000 bond instead, so it went from $2 million to $750,000. Conway arrested last week, nearly 5 years after the murder of another Dallas rapper, Melvin Noble, known by his rap name MO3.
But let's not act like Beezy is out here celebrating in the streets, because the judge put him on lock even outside the jail cell. These are his bond conditions. He's on house arrest, and he's got the ankle monitor with him at all times. Then, he's got to take random alcohol tests. No rolling up or sipping lean. No passport and no flying overseas or business trips. He also can't contact victims, witnesses, or even co-defendants. And obviously, no guns allowed under any conditions. The judge even called him out for not filling out his financial papers properly, and basically said, if you try anything funny, it's back to jail. During the bond hearing, the prosecution came with receipts, literally video footage of the MO3 attack to remind the judge this was serious. They argued Beezy could still be a danger and might try to dip if things get worse. But despite all that, the judge still lowered the bond, probably because the court believed the finances were tight. And let's be real, $2 million ain't chump change. So what did Beezy do after walking free? He didn't even stop to breathe. His lawyer said he's relieved, but Beezy clearly had his eye on the bag, because he dropped new music almost immediately. Now, whether that's a distraction or his way of reclaiming the narrative, you be the judge. He's still got major charges hanging over him, and things are just heating up. No trial date yet, but this could go left real fast, especially if co-defendants start singing or if they dig up money trails to link Beezy to the hit. Remember, prosecutors still gotta prove he planned it and benefited financially. As for the other two who were involved, here's what we know. Devin Brown is also in Dallas County Jail, and Quan is already in federal custody on a gun charge, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon either. So yeah, this case is just getting started, but best believe we'll be watching very closely, because this could get wild real fast. This case is way more than just about Yella Beezy. It's shining a whole light on how violence in hip-hop is being handled in the legal system. The tight bond conditions and public scrutiny, all part of that growing spotlight on rappers who are allegedly tied to real-life crimes. See, the Yella Beezy case is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. What we're really witnessing here is how hip-hop and the legal system are clashing like never before. Let's be real. The minute a rapper gets tied to anything violent or shady, the courts come down extra hard. These tight bond conditions they threw on Beezy, that's not just about protecting the community. It's about sending a message. And let's not ignore the fact that hip-hop artists are being treated like criminal masterminds the second they step into court. Prosecutors love to throw around lyrics, social media posts, and music videos like it's cold, hard evidence, even when there's no direct link to a crime. And while Beezy is facing very serious allegations, the way this case is being handled says a lot about the legal double standards when it comes to artists in this space. The public scrutiny is heavy. News headlines don't say Marquise Conway, They say, rapper Yella Beezy accused of for hire. And just like that, it feeds into this long-standing narrative that rappers are dangerous or lawless. It's the same narrative that ends careers, affects streaming numbers, scares off brands, and taints jury pools before the trial even begins. It's crazy how the system acts like hip-hop is the root of all this violence, when in reality, rap has always been a mirror to what's going on in the streets. It's storytelling, not strategy. But instead of looking at the social conditions that lead to these situations, the courts would rather just lock the artist up, throw away the key, and call it justice. This Yella Beezy situation is serious, no doubt, but it's also exposing the way black artists, especially rappers, are held to a completely different legal standard. From courtrooms to the comments section, it's clear. Hip-hop is still fighting for the right to exist without being criminalized. So now that y'all seen how this is playing out, what y'all think? Was it a setup from the jump? Is this new evidence going to shake the case open again? Drop your thoughts in the comments.